Purdue is the Maui Invitational Champions, the champs of the strongest MTE in college basketball history, the likely number one team in the country come next week, and the champions of our hearts, I would say. We've spent more time talking about Purdue this offseason, this early season, than anyone out there in the world, Cart. We have Riley Davis from Heat Check here as well, because I quote, he texted me and said, I want to join for the Purdue recap. So here we are. I don't know what he has up his sleeves. If he's just excited to talk some boiler ball, that's great. But I'm throwing it to you first, though, Cart, because no one swung back and forth on this team more than you in the offseason. You were with me more often than not saying this team is one of the best teams in the country. They're going to run through the non-con. Everyone needs to give them their credit, take them seriously. But you would also hesitate when we really got over the hump and just say you can't get there with Purdue. Now you've seen it, 3 wins in 3 days, capped by a great win against a Marquette team that looks awesome. Is this the best team in college basketball?
Purdue is the undisputed best team in college basketball. Can't argue it either, to be honest with you. And you know me, and you know how I operate. I don't just throw out best team in college basketball unless I and solely throw it out that. I might say they are unanimously the best team currently in college basketball. They should be number one. I don't know how many votes you have to get to be AP number one, but if there's 50 of them, they should receive all 50 votes. They're the best team. The fact that they were able to go 3 straight days and beat 3 straight really good teams is extremely impressive. And as far as the rest of the country, I think they need to be blessed that there's somewhat of a break in between games, because having to play a numerous amount of games in a day, credit to Marquette just for actually even being in the game in my eyes, because the fact that they had to go through 3 straight days of what they went through and then go up against a team like Purdue with the physical presence of Zach Edey. I mean, Marquette's a great team, but Purdue's just better. They're on another level. They're on another tier by themselves.
Riley, your thoughts?
Yeah, it had a sense of inevitability with Purdue this whole game. Even when Marquette made their run, you saw it on the last possession where Zach Edey, or maybe it was the second to last possession, where Zach Edey had that offensive rebound at the very end of the shot clock and got fouled that essentially iced the game right there. It seems like even when you get close, they have this cheat code who is either going to score or he's going to get a really important rebound. So yeah, I'm 100% with Cart. It's, in my opinion, the undisputed Maui champs. And it seemed like that again when Xavier made their little run. Wait, who did Purdue play that first day? Why am I blanking? It seems like anytime a team can get within striking distance, it's not enough, because
they beat Gonzaga, then Tennessee, then Marquette.
Yes. Gonzaga made it a little bit cute for 30 seconds. It was ooh, Gonzaga, they're kind of getting within 10 or within 9, within 8. It's no, it's over again. So yeah, Purdue felt that way this whole tournament, in my opinion, and really had an all-around performance today. Obviously, you probably want to see a little bit more from the bench, but I thought the starters played really well across the board.
So yeah. I'm dying. The term from Riley there was they are the undisputed Maui champion. That is correct. they are the undisputed Maui champion at this point.
I meant undisputed number 1.
Purdue,
but they're the undisputed Maui champs too.
They are that as well. Yeah, look, I mean, they beat at the time, if you go through the teams they beat in this tournament, they beat the number 7 ranked KenPom team Gonzaga, then the number 7 ranked KenPom team Tennessee, then the number 4 ranked KenPom team Marquette. Those teams have now fallen all the way down to 9, 11, and 7. We talked about it, one team was going to get screwed with their draw in this. There were 4 elite teams, and then Gonzaga was a very near elite team. And Purdue's the team that got the bad draw of the elite teams. And oh, whoops, not a bad draw anymore. We're Purdue. We're just going to emerge victorious. I'm just blown away by this team. I really am. And I can't say I didn't see it coming, because Cart knows this. They were my pick to win this tournament from before the tournament and from today when we recorded a preview of this game.
I was going to say this, Greg, you got to give yourself credit on the preview. You said eventually Purdue's going to have a game where all the guys that we predicted to play well and take steps to make jumps this season all played well. Literally out of the guys that they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys that played at least 10 minutes in this game. And I think 5 of them played well. So it's like they are getting they got major contributions from almost everyone in this game and almost every starter.
Yeah, they had 5 different players hit a 3 in this game. They shot 10 for 21 from 3 as a team. If that happens, I don't know who beats Purdue. Like if they make 10 threes in a game and only shoot 20, I don't know who beats them. Edey was spectacular, and it's a credit to this Purdue team, and it's a credit to how good Zach Edey is that we don't even lead with that anymore. Zach Edey had 28 and 15, and we're not starting the show with how good that was by Zach Edey because we just expect that every single night. Mm-hmm. He is singular. Like, I seriously, I know there's been a lot of great bigs, especially in the last 5 years of the transfer portal era and the COVID era when guys can stay in school longer. But like, for my money, he's the best big in college basketball since I've been alive. I don't know that there's a better one. Riley would probably point to his guy, Tyler Hansbrough, who I'm actually going to host with tonight on After Dark on the Field of 68. But like, there hasn't been a force this dominant in the sport in my life. Like, a bad game for Zach Edey is 25 and 15.
It was like you see the full extent of it when Marquette, again, this was, I want to say there's probably 2 or 3 minutes left. Marquette's making their run. They sent a double at Zach Edey, and he even hesitated for a second when he caught the ball and shook off Tyler Kolek, I think, who was on the double, and just dunked it. And it like looks so effortless. That to me is just Edey in a nutshell, where whatever you throw at him, he's going to find a way to score. And he's not a liability on the other end. And yeah, he's 90% of why I say Purdue's inevitable, and the jump of Braden Smith is the other 10%. With a little Lance Jones sprinkled in. I'm gonna give Lance Jones some love tonight. I know y'all have been hard on him all off season.
What percent? If it's 10% Braden, 90% Edey, what percent is Lance Jones cutting it?
I'll give him like 1% of Braden Smith, because he can do, like, his defense really is feisty and sort of game changing. It's
feisty.
But he also takes some really bad shots still, where there's like, I know he hit 3 threes tonight, but some of the shots he took, I'm like, Lance, dude, like,
let me tell you something right now. As a student who has gone through my whole life being special when it comes to getting on the group and getting with the group that does all the work and then showing my big ass smile when we get an A on it, I know what Lance Jones is doing. Hey, credit to him. I know what he's doing.
He's doing it well, if that's what he's doing.
He's doing extremely well. He's a smart man. I think that I've said on a couple episodes, I think Lance Jones has one of the best and easiest jobs in college basketball. He made a phenomenal decision, literally phenomenal. He cannot do any wrong. He picked a great situation for him and his ability.
Was he good tonight, Cart? Was he good tonight?
He was solid.
He was good tonight. Stop it. We're not going to do this, because here's what I'm not going to deal with. Okay. We are an objective podcast. We have been upfront about how we feel about Lance and how we want to evaluate him by any starting shooting guard qualifications in the country. I don't want to evaluate him by, is he better than Purdue's bench that was horrible last year? I don't want to do that. Let's evaluate him by starting shooting guard protocol. He was good tonight. We have to be able to say that in order to hold our objectivity, okay? Like, I can't do the thing where Lance Jones hits a 90-footer before half, and I have 7 mentions from people coming at me because Cart just won't admit he's good. Like, please just admit he's good.
He had a good game. We're admitting he's good now?
He was good tonight. That's all I want you to say.
He was very solid tonight.
He was good tonight.
He was not good. He still had the bad... I don't understand, bro. Like, he did not have that good of a game. He was getting his ass cooked on the other end of the floor. Tyler Kolek had him in hell. Like, let's not. But I just don't understand. You're right. What did he do? He forced a couple turnovers. How many turnovers did Marquette have? Let's see.
Lance had 2 steals, and I think like he's gonna get cooked. Some. Like, he's gonna get cooked some, but he just has like the lateral quickness. He's got the strength to be.
Got it. I just gotta lower it. It's on me. I gotta look at it.
He's not a lockdown defender, but
I gotta look at it like he's not a scholarship player. That's the scale we
No, it's not. He is a scholarship player, and he was good tonight. That's all. Like, if Lance Jones hits 3 threes, that's been my thing, is he can't shoot. Tonight he hit 2 legitimate threes.
Was a 70-footer from beyond half court rattled in.
So outside of that shot, he was 2 for 6 from 3. If he hits 2 threes a game, he's an asset to this team. If he doesn't, then yeah, I'm talking like I don't see the value as much. He hit 2 threes tonight.
All right, he's good.
He had a good night. That's all I'm okay to say.
He did. He had a good night.
A good night, not a solid night. We got there.
Yes, Lance Jones had a good night. I will see you, Purdue fans. I will see you one day, and we'll have that talk.
So, look, yes, before the game, my thing was I think there's just going to be a game where everybody plays well in Purdue. I don't think everyone played well on Purdue in this game, though. I think most guys played well. I think like the type game that I was predicting would come is a game where like even the bench is contributing in a big way. And they basically got nothing from the bench tonight, which is fine because that ultimately means that your big four were fantastic and you didn't need as much from the bench. Like on nights where Fletcher Lawyer curls himself into a ball, then you need your bench more than you want to need your bench for. Tonight, Fletcher Lawyer was awesome, or not even awesome, just 10 points. He was solid, right? 1 for 3 from 3, took care of the ball, looked aggressive, picked his spots. Braden Smith was very good tonight, 18 and 5, only 2 turnovers. He was up for the challenge. Lance Jones, good by his standards. So when those 3 guys are good, they're playing 32, 34, and 35 minutes instead of 20 to 25 minutes, and you need the bench less. That's when this Purdue team gets more dangerous to me. And I honestly think we've talked about the rotation stuff. Like, are they playing the right guys? Tonight, Paint chose to go with Mason Gillis for 24 minutes at the 4. Trey Kaufman-Renn played 11. Caleb First only played 9. Mason Gillis played 24 minutes, and he didn't do a ton on the box score. He had 4 defensive rebounds, 1 offensive rebound, 5 total, 2 assists, no turnovers, 1 for 3 from 3. I like that from Mason Gillis. As a 5th option at the 4, I think that's more impactful and opens things up more than what TKR can do and right now what any of the bench guys can do. Do you agree with me on that, Cart, with Mason Gillis at the 4?
Yeah, I do. And I think that's one of the kind of wrinkles that we thought that they might throw in there and might do, just because it has TKR playing more so as the backup 5 minutes for when Edey's not in. So credit to Paint for, pulling the right strings, I think, in this game. I think this was a well coached, well executed game, minute allocation wise. And I mean, they look damn good. I mean, there's really not much you could say about it. Are we giving them, like, is that it? Like, we're judging them on the big 4?
The big 4 players? Is that what you're saying? I don't know.
Instead of big 3?
I think at this point, it's clear Lance Jones is going to play that big of a role, whether or not you and I agree.
Okay.
All right. Riley, let's talk the Marquette side of this just briefly. Hard to come away from this anything other than impressed with Marquette, in my opinion. This is their first loss. I thought they looked great. What'd you make of it?
Yeah, I agree. It's a team I think I've projected some of their tournament struggles and under shock of the last 2 years onto this year. And I thought losing Omax was eventually going to bite them, and it just seems like it hasn't. Between Joplin, they just have like a bunch of dudes who are smart and can go get a bucket or make a play. And I don't know if I'm crazy on this one, but I'm always impressed by Sean Jones whenever he's in the game. I like plus minus, he was minus 13. I don't see how that dude makes plays. He makes stuff happen. And to have him as a backup to Tyler Kolek, like he's got to be among the best backup point guards in the country, and he can play alongside Kolek as well. So he's someone who I think of him as like one of the bigger winners of this week, having a moment like this where he played well on a big stage. And even as a Marquette fan, like you got to feel good about your future if Kolek moves on after this year, that like there's not going to be a monumental drop off. And then Iguodaro too. Like Iguodaro was a stud yesterday. He was incredible today. I thought he was just as key in Marquette's run toward the end as Kolek was. Yeah, his athleticism, his ability to play out on the perimeter and make decisions is just game changing for them.
Yeah, it was game changing for Marquette when Oso had to go out with 2 fouls. Like that's when it started going south towards the end of the first half. And then kind of once he got back into the game, I thought they were able to make a little bit more of a run. And that's honestly, that adds to why it's so hard to play against Purdue as well. Like you can game plan, you can do all these things. Like Marquette is without a doubt one of the better defensive teams in the country. Shaka Smart does great things on the defensive end for his team. And it's not even as a fault to them, but like it's so hard not to foul them. It's so hard not to foul Zach Edey. It really is. As much as you want to wall up, but if you got to do the right things as far as trying to front or half or quarter front somebody, when it's someone like Edey, it's just so tough not to foul, because if you don't foul or you don't be somewhat physical with him, he's going to make it. Like that's gonna be points on your head. And even if you do it, you're gonna get 28 and 15 put on you. It's not fair. It's not fair that they have Zach Edey. It really isn't. It's not.
Card, if you had to guard Zach Edey for 100 possessions, how many times are you fouling?
How many times am I fouling?
Yeah.
I wouldn't foul once.
But how many fouls would the Stripes call in 100 possessions?
They would not call. I wouldn't give him a chance to call a foul. I'm too vetty.
So is he scoring on you? How much is he scoring on you?
Oh yeah. He's probably scoring almost every possession unless he misses, but I'm not fouling.
So you would just let him uncontested score and never foul?
I'm in his head too. I don't think I've ever seen anyone like get in Edey's head. I think they like just respect the fact that he's 7'4" and let him rock.
Can we do a little role play here? I'm Zach Edey. What's your first word to get in my head?
Well, I'm probably first coming at the fact that he's got that Burlington ass coat factory shoe drip that he's got on. He's been wearing the same kicks his whole Purdue career, even though they got a Nike contract. And I'm not trying to hear anything about his size 27, that he can't find anything in his size. I'm on his head about that.
Burlington coat factory drip with a Great Clips haircut.
Yeah, and a Ron Jeremy mustache. Like,
all right. Okay. Briefly,
but he's also talking something back to me. He's definitely calling me fat, and I got nothing for that.
I don't know if that's Zach Edey's game, to be honest. Braden Smith might come in and do that. It seems like a type that might do that. But...
I'm okay. What's next?
Riley mentioned Sean Jones. I love that call out. I do agree. He's one of the biggest winners of this week. Anytime he was on the floor, I'm like, oh, wow, that's another guy. And I don't think Marquette needed another guy. Now they have another guy. I also have convinced myself mentally that although factually inaccurate, Sean Jones is Cam Jones's little brother. And it's a lot more fun to interpret. I'm just going to run with that mentally, even though it's absolutely not true. All right, let's have the conversation quickly. Riley needs to go in a minute, but we can't wrap this segment without doing it. And I had a little tweet. It's a baffling number. I bet Purdue all 3 times this week. They covered both the first 2 games. They blew the cover tonight because they missed 2 free throws in the final 7 seconds. Still heartbroken about it. This isn't about my bet. This is about the wild number. Since December 9th, 2020, that's the COVID era. We had a pandemic happening. Purdue is 33-3 in their last 36 non-conference games. Any game not played in the Big Ten Conference. They are 33-3 in. In that span, they have wins against North Carolina, Villanova, Marquette, Texas, Gonzaga, Duke, Xavier, Gonzaga again, Tennessee, Marquette again. That's in a 3-year span, fellas. Their 3 losses are to North Texas, St. Peter's, and Fairleigh Dickinson.
That's wild.
I don't understand it. And we don't need to do the why is this happening or the Painter in March thing. We can save that for months from now. But I just want people, this is me speaking for myself, and you can tell me if you disagree. I want people to not summarize Matt Painter for his missteps along the way in March. Because the truth of who this Purdue program is right now and the truth of who it has been under Matt Painter is the team that is 33-0 in the regular season against Blue Bloods. Like this program makes so much more sense and is taken so much more seriously if they had just made a couple Final Fours. Like just if this team just did like Gonzaga style Final Four runs, not even saying they won the title, if they just made like 2 Final Fours in this span, everyone's taking them serious. There's no Matt Painter critics. Everyone's looking at them for the program they are, which is dominant at a historical level against all these nasty programs with NBA talents, with Hall of Fame coaches. Matt Painter's been whooping their ass for 3 years. And it's culminated now into this moment of achievement at the Maui Invitational in the most loaded field of any regular season tournament we've ever seen. And the truth is, if they don't get it done in March this year, everyone's still not going to care. But I'm sick of it because I want this program to be summarized for what they are, which is historically great over these last 3 seasons. Riley, is that fair from me, or does it just come down to March?
No, I think it's fair. March runs are a ton of fun. I got to be the benefit of a team that got hot in March a year and a half ago, and it was incredible. That being said, it's also pretty sick to like be good for a whole season. I've got to see some UNC teams be good for a whole season, and I might still prefer the March run, but like cherish the good times because it can change quick, and you could find yourself being down 6 at halftime to Northern Iowa and not being that surprised.
Oh God, dark place for you and me today. Cart, you are your program is Mr. March. Does it all come down to March, or am I right that this Purdue team is in the middle of a historically dominant era?
I would trade what I went through the last, I don't know, whatever we want to call it, since Cassius left or whatever. I would trade that for whatever Purdue has done the last couple years.
Well, yeah. Is that supposed to be surprising?
I think most Michigan State fans would be like, I don't want to lose to a 16 seed. I want to win games in the tournament. Like I don't want to lose to St. Peter's, a 15 seed. They would say that, but they're a powerhouse program. They are the best team in the country this year. They are going to win the Big Ten Conference easily, maybe even more games than they won last year. And we'll see what they do when they get to March.
Okay. I will go so far as to call it this, boys. You can tell me I'm right, or you can tell me I'm wrong. You can tell me I look stupid when we get to April. As far as I'm concerned, the last 2 years into this season, so this is year 3, this has been the Purdue era of college basketball. And at the end of the day, Kansas has a title and UConn has a title in the Purdue era. We'll see how the Purdue era closes, because the Purdue era will go away. I'm not saying they're going to be bad, but the Purdue era is done when Zach Edey walks out the door. And they might win a title this year, and then I don't look stupid for saying that. But the sport has run through this team the last 3 seasons, and it's going to run through it this year. We'll see what happens. Riley Davis from Heat Check, Carter Elliott from Sleepers Media. I'm GregWaddell, a.k.a. Mediocre White Man Host. If you want to yell at me about Lance Jones more, my DMs are open. Click subscribe while you do so, though. We'll be back with plenty more recaps and previews all college basketball season long.